Hello and thanks for joining us from our studios in Israel. I'm Aaron Porras here with ILTV's Morning Brief. In breaking news this morning, the Palestinian man suspected of killing IDF Sergeant First Class Amit Benigal has been detained. Israeli military forces have been carrying out 2 days of searches and detentions in relation to the killing, and the military spokesperson says that perhaps the suspect is among them. The Shin Bet flatly denies the reports, however, saying the investigation is open and ongoing, and also all those arrested across Judea and Samaria or the West Bank in the past few days have denied involvement in the crime. Sergeant First Class Benigal, posthumously promoted from Staff Sergeant, was a member of the Israeli Golani Brigade combat unit, and he was killed when a suspect dropped a large brick on his head from the rooftop of a 3-story building. This during a morning arrest in the town of Yabed, and he was laid to rest Tuesday in the town of Be'er Yaakov. The political gridlock in Israel ends today, and the 35th government is swearing in Thursday evening. After 3 elections and 18 months with an interim government, Prime Minister Netanyahu has inked the final coalition agreements with rival Benny Gantz's Blue and White, the Gesher and Labor parties, the Derech Eretz party, and the religious Shas and United Torah Judaism parties. And he's informed President Rivlin of his success. In a surprise last edition, though, Interim Education Minister Rafi Peretz from the Yamina party has defected. He will sit in the coalition as an independent and will serve as Minister of Jerusalem Affairs. The rest of the Yamina party, under Chairman Naftali Bennett, will be joining the opposition. Now, meanwhile, the Knesset confirmations tonight come just 10 days from the start of Prime Minister Netanyahu's criminal trial. He's been indicted on allegations of bribery, fraud, and breach of trust in 3 separate cases in which hundreds of witnesses are called. Netanyahu denies any wrongdoing, though. But in part of the new unity deal, he will hopefully have more time to address the court anyway. Benny Gantz will be acting defense minister while also holding the title of prime minister, and he's set to take over for Netanyahu as full-time prime minister in 18 months, or sooner if Netanyahu needs to take a leave. In other news, United States Secretary of State Mike Pompeo has just finished up his meetings in Israel with Prime Ministers-elect Netanyahu and Benny Gantz. And among their discussions, Pompeo is thought to have asked Israel to back away from China. Between the spread of the coronavirus and a trade war, relations between the United States and China have already been under heavy strain. And now Secretary of State Pompeo is apparently asking Israel to choose a side. Pompeo even hinted that he'd make these demands during the press conference Wednesday morning.
You're a great partner. You share information, unlike some other countries that try and obfuscate and hide that information. And we'll talk about that country too.
Well, in practice, this pressure has been going on for a while. In 2019, Israel set up the Committee for Approving Strategic Investments following allegations that Chinese investments may have malign underpinned interests. And now reports show that Israel is reconsidering Chinese tenders for building a water desalination plant in Israel and for the seaport in Haifa. Control over the port would be one of the final steps in creating China's new Silk Road, and the United States claims that this project is a credit and bribery trap designed to take control of countries along the path. That said, construction at the port seems to indicate that it's too late, and Chinese sources reportedly even expect to push for a free trade agreement with Israel in the near future. Moving on, just 19 new cases of coronavirus in Israel have been reported in the past 24 hours, continuing a downwards trend in the country. 3 more deaths to the virus, however, brings the total up to 264. Just over 4,050 virus cases are still active in Israel, with 61 in serious condition, and over 12,230 have recovered. Meanwhile, in a major turnaround, virus testing has ramped back up. The Ministry of Health says it's processed over 7,100 virus tests on Tuesday alone, after earlier this week boasting numbers of just 3,000 to 4,000, out of 15,000 possible. A rise in testing is a welcome change, though, as more and more restrictions are rolled back amidst fears of a second outbreak. More schools and businesses are reopening every day. Wedding halls are set to open for up to 100 guests per event as soon as next week. International flights are also set to resume within a few weeks, and so are the national train services. Also, thousands of Israelis broke social distancing guidelines this week for the Lag BaOmer holiday and to attend the funeral of IDF soldier Amit Benigal. That's all for now, but for more news from Israel, remember to like ILTV on Facebook and on Instagram, and to subscribe to us on YouTube. I'm Aaron Porras, and see you later with our main daily broadcast from Israel at 2 p.m. Eastern Time.